Hello, and welcome to Healthy Kingston, a health promotion and wellness program of the Kingston Board of Health. I'm Janet Wade, your host. As we all know, in Massachusetts, there are many wildlife and rodents that we can find on our property on a regular basis. They can spread a lot of disease, and it's primarily through things such as their droppings, urine, saliva, and also bites. So it's very important that we be aware of them and the type of diseases like lanovirus and streptococcus, which can lead to very serious illnesses. We also have deer, and deer have ticks that we're all familiar with and that they can cause Lyme disease. So we thought with the spring here that it would be important to have an expert come in to talk to us about how we as a community can discuss our wildlife and rodents and how we can protect ourselves and our property from the diseases that they carry. So with that, I would like to introduce Nick Diodato, who is the co-owner, and he is a wildlife technician with expert wildlife removal. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course, Jan, it's great to be here.
Absolutely. I know I myself have had a number of issues,
Yes.
as you know, with everything from bats in the attic of my house to squirrels in the walls to mice in the cars. So I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. If you would, could you take us through the seasons of the year and the type of animals that are present in those seasons, the most common, and what type of diseases they carry?
Sure. So we'll start with the springtime, which is where we are now, and it's probably one of our most busiest seasons, I would say. Everything's having babies right now and doing their fun stuff and just getting active from their winter season where they were kind of hanging out and not really had much weather to go out and hang out with. So. We're doing a lot of raccoons right now, squirrels, woodchucks underneath decks, all that stuff, and just causing general property damage, raccoons ripping roofs apart, just thousands and thousands of property damage we've been seeing in the last week alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about summer? Fall?
Summer, we see a lot of bats. So late spring, early summer, bats become active. They go into what's called a torpor state during the winter time. So it's basically a semi-hibernation. So a lot of people will hear overwintering bats in their attic, but the problem is in the state of Massachusetts, you cannot touch the bats until May 1st because it's a blackout period. Bats are very beneficial to the environment, as we all know, and there's been a decrease in bat populations because things like white nose virus, which is affecting them. They go in the caves and it spreads very rapidly. Really big wipeout of the population. And I think things like pesticide spraying as well may not be great for the bats. And just general deforestation and just taking of their habitat affects the bats. So there's a really strong push to protect the bats now. So we're only allowed to do them May 1st through May 31st.
Okay.
Then it gets shut down because they have babies. And if you do the proper work to get them out during the baby season, the mothers will go out, but the babies are flightless and they get trapped in your attic. And so they're not able to live once the mothers go out. Yes, because we utilize one-way door systems for the exclusions, is what we call them. And they're, like I said, they're able to go out but not get back in.
Okay.
So we cannot do them during the middle of the summer. But when it gets to the end, about October-ish, October 15th, August 1st, and then through October, we can do bats again. And then it shuts down for the winter. So there's a real emphasis on protecting bats.
Okay.
But yeah, they do carry rabies. The guano is highly hazardous. Histoplasmosis is a fungal virus that can grow on the feces, and if it gets airborne and you breathe it in, you can get very sick.
Okay.
So that's our summertime, basically.
What about the fall?
Fall is rodent central. All the mice, all the rats, everything's trying to get in. We do a lot of squirrels in the fall as well. And of course, you know, if you've seen the news, you know what's going on with the hantavirus in the rodents. And so everybody's been asking me all about that lately. So there's definitely an increase in that going on lately. Just seems to be generally more things going on disease-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Does the weather affect them? I never even
I think
thought about that.
that is why the hantavirus is so prevalent in Southern California, is because of the environment. We don't get very much hantavirus in the Northeast because our environment doesn't allow for the proper breeding of it. It doesn't work. But we don't not have it.
Okay.
It's just very rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Along with that, I wanted to ask you, what are the common points of entry that the wildlife and the rodents have to our property?
Yes. So a lot of it is conjoining roof lines on houses, soffits, so where a lot of times the roofs will meet each other. They're not exactly tight, and animals really don't even have to do anything to get in. There's already a gap there, and they just take advantage of what was already there by builders.
Okay.
Chimney caps, that's a great thing. We get raccoons and chimneys all the time. If you put a chimney cap on, you won't have a problem. A lot of lack of maintenance on the home as well. Rotted trim, things that just kind of let homeowners slip through the cracks, and it's easy access for wildlife. Attic vents, unsecured attic vents, ridge vents, bulkhead doors on basements, foundations. We just literally find a whole slew. They're so clever, they can find any way in. Behind the gutters, the fascia behind the gutters, sometimes the drip edges aren't tight. Then if they really want in bad enough, they'll chew a hole right through the middle of your roof.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. It makes me feel like I need to go out and do a trajectory around my house weekly to find out what the issues are that are going on.
Yeah. We have had to
that's a lot to
incorporate
contend
that.
with.
Yeah.
So what would you say homeowners should be doing to prevent exposure to wildlife?
Keep an eye on your property all the time. Constantly go out. The number one thing we hear from people is, I didn't notice that. I'm never outside. I didn't look up there. Well, the neighbor will come across the street. Hey, do you know you have a raccoon hanging out of your soffit?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't really go outside too much. Just go around your house and take a look every once in a while. And if you notice that something needs to be maintained, it's probably a good idea to get it maintained sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because a small problem can easily turn into a large problem.
Sure.
So definitely just do routine maintenance of your home. Check around. Even if you're not there, have somebody do it for you. Have a property maintenance person, have a pest control guy come out every 3 months and just take a look at your house and do a full inspection. That way you can stay on top of things. That's the number one thing. Yeah.
What about subtle things like looking for, droppings?
Yes.
Urine?
So you should be checking. Obviously, the first number one thing people complain about is, I hear something. I hear scratching, I hear banging, I hear marbles rolling, what sounds like marbles rolling. A lot of times I can, by what they give me for evidence, I can hear. Kind of lets me know what it is. It generally, okay, I hear marbles rolling in my ceiling.
Right.
That generally believes me to lead it's a mouse problem, because mice like to carry in acorns and they'll roll them like marbles.
Oh, for heaven.
So it sounds like, I'm like,
I
okay, I know what that is already. Yeah, but we do a full inspection of the house when we come out and do work. So we're able to identify all the issues, entry points, and anything that we think might be a problem.
Okay. Okay, you've addressed our houses. What about property at large?
Yes, I would definitely look out for, burrowing, loose sand kicked up to where it wasn't before, kind of near retaining walls, rock walls, stuff like that. You can see, we'll see that type of stuff for rats and woodchucks and burrowing type animals like that. And then obviously you can see if there's insulation, if you're looking up, you can see insulation coming out of the soffits. What I would do though, mostly to prevent pests from coming into your yard, is you gotta make sure the habitat is not ideal for them. Brush piles, scrap heaps, standing water, anything like that, take it away. You want to make it uninviting for the guests of wildlife as possible.
Okay.
Anything you can do. They don't like wide open spaces. They like clutter and so don't keep brush piles, compost heaps, stuff like that. I know people like to do compost, but it really attracts rats and all kinds of other animals. If you attract rats, then it attracts the bigger predators, and you just start attracting everybody. And one thing that I kind of discourage to most customers is bird feeders.
Oh,
It's
really?
not a great idea. It really brings in everything under the sun. Literally chipmunks, rats, mice, raccoons, squirrels, everything goes for bird feed. And then if you have any issues with your home, they're going to take advantage of it because all they'll do is food, shelter, back and forth. Why would they? They will set up shop right on that bird feeder.
Okay.
And because a lot of times we'll go into the basement and see, for mice, pull down the insulation and it'll be all bird seed from them bringing the bird seed in and out, because they stash food all year long.
Right.
For the winter time, so they'll stash food all year, and that's what they'll do. They'll just puff up their cheeks stuff them with acorns, sunflower seeds, anything that they can, any type of nut that they can, and they'll just all day long back and forth stash.
That's amazing. We were talking before the program that you've really got to know the lifestyle of these animals and their habits, and obviously you do. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot in the last 20 years.
I would imagine.
I learn every day something new. Everything that they write in the books, you can't go by it.
Oh,
you gotta
really?
Go, oh, yeah.
Everything's
changed. Everything's changed.
Really?
That's a big thing I've noticed maybe in the last 10 years with wildlife, is that there's been a big change with their behaviors and the way that they're really adapting to humans now in a way that they weren't before.
Huh. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so with the building, they're just getting smarter. I mean, on a normal occasion, they just rip through an attic vent. I mean, they're just doing James Bond type stuff now, literally.
Really?
Like insane stuff. Like, how are you even figuring out how to get into this I can't even explain it, but just there's so many situations where it's like, these animals are crazy and amazing. Like, how are you even doing this at this point?
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes your mind just gets blown. And every job is a learning experience. You can learn something new off of every single job, and that's how you get to know your animals.
Well, then the next question is, so we're all waiting to hear, what do you do? How do you approach these animals, particularly the ones that are very smart?
The way that we approach our business this is the way we've always kind of put first our business model is we're a humane wildlife removal company. The last thing we want to do is harm these animals in any way. And I think that's a big misconception in the pest control field, is that we're all out to murder these animals when we're not. We love these animals. We want to take care of these animals. So we pride ourselves on being a humane wildlife removal company. We will do anything in our means. Like we use exclusions, like one-way doors, allows the animals to go out but cannot get back in. Because in Massachusetts, you have 3 options. If you trap an animal, you can only release it on that property that same day. Try to find a wildlife rehabilitator that may take it, but if it's not sick or injured, they probably won't take it. Or the other option is, unfortunately, you're supposed to euthanize them, and that is an option we do not like to go for. Like I said, we try to exercise all other options first, and that's the last resort that we want to do. But there is some cases where we have to do that, and But what we'll do, we'll get the mother raccoon out, we'll secure her, then we'll make repairs to the area where she was getting in. Then we'll go on a pup search, go in the attic, try to find where the pups are. We'll get the pups out, put them in a special birthing box in a safe place where she knows where she can get them, fix the hole, release the mother on site. She'll go run away, find somewhere nice and safe, and when it gets all quiet, she'll come back and take the pups to a different spot. They usually have up to 10 denning sites in an area, so they have backups. So she will take them and move them on.
Okay.
So
how do you physically get them out of where they are?
So the mother raccoon, that's the difficult part, is getting her. She's the smart one. What we would do is what's called a positive set. We'll usually have a special trap that we have designed. It goes over the direct entrance of that animal. Say it got into the attic vent, the trap will be attached over the attic vent. When she goes to come out at night, she has no choice but to go into that trap. It's a humane trap. She goes in there. We were alerted once it goes off. We get out there as soon as possible to get her out. And then we start the process of trying to find the pups. Sometimes that's very easy. Sometimes that's extremely difficult.
Okay.
We're working on one now. We're going to have to probably cut a hole in the wall to get them out.
Wow.
Because there's no access, there's no attic.
Okay.
They built the house with no attic, and the raccoon ripped the roof open and went inside and had the babies in there, and there's no way to get them out
Wow.
other than cutting a hole in their ceiling. So
Wow.
this is what we deal with every
Yeah,
spring.
it's a lot.
Every spring we deal with this.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy job.
Do you work around the clock? Do you just work it during the day? You talk about some of these animals coming out at night.
Yeah.
So.
There are places that offer 24/7 service, but we do not. It's just too much. I have too much of a family life, and
Oh, I agree.
know,
I just wondered what.
there
yeah.
are people that claim they do that, but I'm not sure if they do.
Would you go back the next day and check? Is that what you do?
I would get them as soon as possible.
Okay.
As soon as possible. Reasonably as soon as possible.
Okay. What are some final points that you would like to make that you feel everyone should know as far as dealing with wildlife and rodents?
So I would say prevention goes a long way. That is probably our holy grail right there. Prevention, prevention, prevention. If you can prevent the problem from happening before it happens, you're going to save so much more money, because we've seen so many problems where people have put it off and just put it off and just put it off, and it only gets worse and worse and worse. So the quicker that you can get on, if you suspect an issue, you just have an inspection. Even if you don't know if there's anything going on, just call somebody and have an inspection. We've gone out to inspections and found plumbing issues, water leaks that the people never even knew they were there, just because they thought they heard something, and we came out and just happened to see, or we saw an electrical issue.
Right.
So even just having someone out, just to inspect your home every once in a while is a great idea.
Do a lot of people do that, like on an annual basis?
Most of my clients, they're on a recurring, just to keep up on things, because the last thing they want to do is, let animals back into the house. They've already gone through the experience once. It was traumatizing.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And so they don't want to go through it again. And, we live in Massachusetts. We have rough winters. Our houses take a beating. So the houses need to be maintained quite a bit. And it doesn't take much for animals to get in. So,
Okay.
and yeah, I just say I wouldn't wait. If you hear something, or you smell something, or you suspect something, don't wait.
Okay.
The quicker you get it done, you can probably get it done cheaper and quicker.
Okay. Well, so that's the best takeaway. If you have any indication as far as noises, smells, looking at the exterior of your house and seeing any rotting wood, holes, whatever.
Insulation on the ground
yeah,
randomly,
look for it.
pieces of shingles hanging on. Like, where did those come from?
Right.
Stuff like that. And just look up every once in a while. Nobody looks up.
Looks up.
Yeah, nobody looks up.
Right. And obviously keeping your property well manicured, taken care of.
Yes.
That was a good tip about compost piles, and also piles of whatever, leaves, wood,
yeah.
whatever, that they like shelter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's three
that
things
makes
they need.
sense.
It's food, water, and shelter.
Food, water,
You
and
take those
shelter.
things away, they can't live there.
Right,
So,
exactly,
yeah.
yeah. And treat them humanely.
Exactly. That
Well,
is our
thank
goal.
you so much
Thank you,
for
Janet.
what you and your company and coworkers do for our community,
Yes.
keeping us safe and also healthy and disease-free.
Yes, that is the goal. That is
Okay.
the goal.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.